Bro, like really? What do you think I had? I had nothing. I'm sorry. Lay down. Alright. Anyways. Oh yeah, how's everybody doing? If you hear that, it's because the cat is on top of the table. Anyways, welcome to the monument, the Monument Mythos Season 2 stream. And possibly Monument Mythos Season 3 if we don't get there. Anyways, I am so excited. I'm honestly very excited because one, I can now okay. I can now get to this part finally. I've been wanting to get to this part. So so basically just just to letting you all know, Monument Mythos. Anyways, so now that we're here, I'm going to bring out something that I wanted to bring out from the last stream, but I actually couldn't because one, we were interrupted twice. Anyways, uh, Monument Mythos. I actually had to like rethink about everything that just happened within the previous season, season one. Now, something that I overlooked from season one is the Canyon Crown video. In the Canyon Crown video, well, we can. Okay, so when we get to this part right here, where's this creature here? Yeah, that creature. Don't know what that is. Now, something I should have thought, should have like put two and two together, is that at the ending we see this people without their heads, and that basically, uh, she our character here or our person that's recording it called it a Kenyan Galan or a Kenyan crown, and then it, if you see this, it says it uses vinegar to shrink its huge head back into its body. So this is what I think too. I think, which is I'm gonna fucking hope it's not, because it's if it is true, this is gonna be crazy. That the Kenyan Golan are actually floating heads, and obviously, if you don't know, it just to bring it, full circle. The lady in this video that the head, that basically the head is, her name is Maya, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the same Maya Arnoldson that was um, put into that metal suit to become a Lincoln Looker. So yeah, and then also fun fact, um, this video was made by Lauren Arnold. I was just wanted to bring it up because I thought it was very. I should have put two and two together. Anyways, now to season two. The first episode we're gonna start out with is Corner Girl. Oh, and I did miss something here. Two cameras were used during Arnold's trip. Professional photographer, video camera, he's movie maker. This is very interesting. This is very important. And in season two, I think we'll go into it more. I think we will. So yeah. So now we're gonna get in there. All right, Corner Girl, season two. Here we go. Oh, hold on. Before we start, let me close my door. I want to be nice to the cats, but honestly, I really don't want them to come in here and interrupting me in the middle of my stream. All right, here we go. Corner Girl. Sorry, I'm not Alex, Kansas. I just moved luggage. Wait, what? Alex, Kansas? You mean Alex Canvas? Canvas? Alex based Riley Tillen on. Huh? She was luggage. Oh wait. Luggage is so easy to lose. Sincerely, Alex. Inspiration. You're not gonna. No fucking way. No description has been added to this video. Okay, hold on. Someone says something. I just realized what the special trees lore has in common with the corner Pokemon. The trees create gateways to alternate dimensions, and they do it by folding themselves into arches, folding into a corner. Edit. I also just realized when people get transported by trees, their bodies are flipped. They are folded as well, albeit not like the original corner guy. Hmm, it's interesting. Well, hold on. There are some semi-transparent. Oh, hold on. I see that. It's like very. It's like small. She was too old for the nursery. Okay, she was too old for the nursery. She was luggage, of course. Oh, hold on. Too young for prison. For prison. But she made the perfect gift. Well, hold on. Watch the corner. Watch the corners, okay? Sincerely, Alex's inspiration. God, that's crazy. All right. The next one is called Maze Movie Maker. Um, did you know that several photographs of President Dean, have been manipulated to protect legitimate national security interests? Visit our Twitter account for more fun facts. Before you finish brushing your teeth, before you can finish showering, before you can finish getting dressed, before you can finish breakfast, before you can finish the morning paper, popcorn will be ready. With the start time just under 60 seconds, Popcorn Prime is the fastest personal computer on Earth. Your popcorn is waiting. Maine. Mace Manufacturing Plant, 1960 to 1971. 1960. Wait, hold on. Okay. Okay. I think I know what this is doing. This is like the Golden Gate Bridge or like Alcatraz right here, right? And then right here is Canyon. The Canyon. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. Okay. Alcatraz. Alcatraz. The Canyon. I presume Ellis Island and the Lincoln Monument and Mount Rushmore as well. And then Liberty Island, possibly, yeah. They're all okay. So we know that the trail passes by most of the monuments. Amazing. Wait, hold on. Outbreaks reported. Fourth Amendment rights do not apply. They're like something. Fourth Amendment rights do not apply. Oh. In 1960, Mace Machines is founded by Rob Careers and Rob Wachroba. In 1969, President Dean establishes the Department of Technology, knitting all major American computer corporations and allocating billions of dollars toward technological advancement. Sorry, today is just not the day for me. Dean, what are you showing me? 1970, Mays produces the first personal video camera and home computer. Hoy, boy. Okay, so like, I got a question. You're showing me the computer. Where's the camera? Oh, right. In 1972, Mays collaborates with the Department of Defense to initiate the first system to control the True Forces of Mass Destruction (TFMD) Project Horn Serpent. Oh, that's what that was. But wait, it's not right because it went on along so like this, and then it went like that. So what is it? Project Horn. That's weird. Horn Serpent. In 1980, Maze is attacked. Oh shit. Oh, what the fuck is this? What the fuck am I looking at? Like, it has a lot of spikes, tendrils. What is this? Oh, is this tree? Is this a tree? In 1990, the last American personal computer is shut down on national television. In 2000, we've learned from our mistakes. Control is confidence, and today there are no doubts. With Maze Movie Maker, now you can take control. Maze. That's interesting. Property of Maze. You know what's crazy? Okay, I'm gonna say this right now. This is not the first time I heard Maze. Obviously, I've seen somewhat this channel. I've only seen clips in here and there, but the word Maze and the company, it's brought up another time in the Manticore channel. um, it's brought up in the alternate folklore American folklore. This is a new project which we're gonna watch after we watch all of this, and it is brought up in this thing. I think only once. So eventually, whenever we get done with this, we'll go to this and you guys will see what I mean. Exploring under a maze factory, property of maze. Okay. Bro, okay. If you guys have never seen that series, the alternate American folklore, right here, right now, would be like blowing your mind. But like from like right now, it is for me. It's just crazy. Yeah, it's blowing my mind. I can't believe I was just still bewildered by the fact that I firstly spread the word. Beware the monuments; they're all connected. All connected. The military-industrial complex grows. Okay, so is this the anti-Dean group? Is this the anti-Dean group? If it is, it would make more sense. Also, I need to figure out what, cause like we have like so far I've only known that there's like a bunch of universes. So there's one universe where fucking Washington ended up in the Delaware River frozen in, and then they defrosted the man, and then he basically realized, oh my god, this guy's George Washington. And then there's an alternate universe where basically there's a universe where a group of kids help their president or mayor or whatever president help I guess their kids put the star on it on a tree, those one of those trees, and get teleported to a different universe. Now, I'm still unaware if what we're seeing in the Deanverse is what happened after the events of the tree, or or is the Deanverse different from like the Alice universe? I don't know. We'll figure it out. The cave was very quiet and humid. Look, a Nauticus. The air felt charged too. The air felt charged? There was no light fixtures or any pieces of equipment. I not no animals, not even bugs. I wonder if there's a tree down here. felt so empty. I wonder if there's a tree down here. What happened here? Oh, am I going the right way? Bro, where am I? I should be right here. But it's like, where? Yeah, I think this is a tree. Like, tree location. They're gonna get support. Do not visit these sites. They have not been fed in years. What? What does that mean? Billy? Oh! Wait. Okay, hold on. If I'm understanding this correctly now, Maya has yet to become whatever it is in the canyon, and Nathaniel is, I'm guessing, her brother, which is basically the father of those kids at the canyon. Dude, that's fucking crazy. That's West Canal Crab. Hmm. Okay, hold on. I think it's time for me to put my headphones in. All right, here we go. Suez Canal, March 20 something. Ever given? Wait, hold on. What day? What March 2021? So wait, okay. So so now this is technically the present or the future. Ever given? The Ever Given. Why does that sound familiar? Is that the boat that got stuck in it? Okay, March 23rd, 7:44 a.m. April 6th, 2021. President Clinton announces nuclear solution. Whoa, hold on. So this is a very big, different universe. Okay, so maybe, perhaps, this is the Dean verse. Okay, President Clinton announces nuclear solution. For the last 2 weeks, the container ship Ever Given has obstructed the Suez Canal with every passing hour. It is costing the global economy over $40 million. At the request of the Egyptian president, the United States will end the crisis with nuclear force. Both Congress and the United Nations Security Council have approved the use of this small thermonuclear weapon on the Suez Canal, several miles from the Ever Given's location. The blast itself will not reach the ship. However, the waves generated are expected to dislodge the Ever Given from its present position. Evacuation of the cities along the waterway are in progress. Now, when you mean by progress, I mean as we're speaking, or it's in the process. Like, oh, what the fuck? Twitter machine? What the fuck? Oh, time machine? Tea machine? Where did the Ever Given go? The ship disappeared, according to officials. I got up and left. Why is everyone confused? Remember the ship that was stuck in the Suez Canal? It just disappeared. What? It's got legs. My dude's got legs. What it do? What it do, boys? What it do? The Americans just released a monster. Nobody asked for the sequel to Attack of the Crab Monsters 1957. The Americans destroyed the Suez Canal and released the demon Great. So this is the ship alive or is something underneath it? April 11, 2021. Suez Canal crab will not be destroyed, says UN Security of the Council. They don't want to destroy it. Crab cannot be eliminated without causing great damage to the Ever Given. In this day and age, the world is unprepared for the loss of cargo of such magnitude. Therefore, the Suez Canal will not be destroyed. At this time, no containers will be lifted from the ship since low-flying aircraft cause the organism to ambulate unsteadily. In hopes of returning the Ever Given back to the sea, efforts are underway to carefully manipulate the crab's route through Egypt. Okay. Barricade 1. Barricade 2. Cairo. What does that mean? Wait, what? Cairo. Doctor Disturbing present. Hey!
Hello. Hello. Okay, and then tell me, what do you think about the tower? It's your first visit here, so what do you think about the tower? I thought it was a really good tower. It was very interesting to go up it. It gave you a really good sense of how busy Cairo is, so I really enjoyed it.
That was terrific. It was really great to get kind of a sense of the scale of the city. It's kind of difficult to do that when you're walking around down on the street.
It's a breathtaking view, and it really gives you a terrific perspective of the whole city. And I loved it up there. I spent a couple of hours up on the top.
Rachel on Cairo Tower Stampede. What?
Due to evacuations around the Suez Canal, millions traveled to Cairo in search of housing. In response to this migration, many building capacity limits for popular attractions were inflated. The Cairo Tower, one of the tallest buildings in Egypt, had its own recommended capacity limit increased from 700 persons to 1,000.
April 16, 2021, 3 days prior.
On the evening of April 16th, 2021, upwards of 1,200 visitors toured the Cairo Tower at once. Although concerns of overcrowding had been raised by several staff members, the building manager dismissed their comments. Since the Suez Canal crab would be passing by later in the evening, he also encouraged visitors to enter the upper levels of the tower, as that would provide a better vantage point. At 8 p.m., the Suez Canal crab was observed to have turned toward the Cairo Tower and proceeded to approach. Despite an alert sent out by the Egyptian government for civilians to immediately vacate structures in the crab's path, most visitors ignored the warning and stayed on the upper levels of the Cairo Tower as it came near. At 8:15 p.m., the Suez Canal crab was seen to have stumbled and, in an attempt to regain its balance, crashed into one side of the Cairo Tower, killing over 200 people. The resulting tremors that traversed the building damaged its staircases and elevator systems beyond repair. The cascade of shipping containers from the Ever Given, knocked forward by the momentum of the initial stumble, lasted for over 2 minutes, as an estimated 800 containers broke from their locks and pushed forward an additional 1,000 containers. As all 1,800 containers tumbled down through the building, the structural integrity of the Cairo Tower rapidly diminished. Falling debris and containers are reported to have killed over 800 visitors. At 8:19 p.m., the Cairo Tower fully collapsed.
Oh, no way.
The mobilized Suez Canal crab into the ground. In total, only 39 of the 1,189 visitors of the Cairo Tower survived. 2 of the 15 staff members escaped to safety, including the building manager. None of the 6 security guards survived. Although paramedics and police officers had arrived shortly before the Cairo Tower's collapse, the visibly unstable tower prompted them to collect survivors on the ground and retreat to a safe distance. At 8:41 p.m., a hazardous waste collection team and soldiers of the Egyptian ground forces arrived to contain survivors within mobile quarantine chambers. Due to fears of a potential contagion contracted from the Suez Canal crab,
Huh.
all civilians in the vicinity were placed in quarantine under the authority of Egypt's military in collaboration with the Ministry of Health. Upon impact with the ground, the Suez Canal crab and the Ever Given separated. The large wounds caused by the separation discharged thousands of gallons of seawater and bodily fluids. The hazardous waste collection team and soldiers attempted to plug the gushing lesions. However, survivors report that their efforts were mostly futile due to the team's inability to stay standing on the slippery ground. With the number of accidental falls among the troops on the increasingly wet ground, the Egyptian army diverted its focus from closing wounds on the Suez Canal crab to evacuation efforts. By midnight, the civilian population within a 3-mile radius of the fallen Cairo Tower had been completely evacuated. On the morning of April 17th, Egyptian authorities publicly announced that the Suez Canal crab had fallen in Cairo and laid in a vegetative state. Although the Cairo exclusion zone was primarily intended to prevent any media coverage of the crab and the surrounding destruction, several journalists managed to record footage of the site through the assistance of private helicopter pilots. By 8 a.m., clips of the crab were trending on Twitter. Members of the Anti-Device Association attributed the severity of the disaster to the development of intelligent devices, specifically Twitter machines.
Okay, hold on. The Anti-Device Association. I wonder if this is just an alternate universe in general, and I need to figure out what universe this is. We'll figure it out later. But if the Anti-Device Association is anything coincidental to being the ADA, and then like the Anti-Dean Association as well, I wouldn't. I mean, I don't know. I hope it's not just coincidence.
They reasoned that due to the popularity of Twitter in America, the Ever Given was overstocked with tea machines, which weighed the ship down and consequently caused the initial obstruction of the Suez Canal. On Twitter, the ADA released a vicious string of messages criticizing Twitter, Hillary Clinton, and Egypt. Along with images of the Suez Canal crab, photos of scattered goods that had fallen out of the shipping containers became a popular topic of
Oh
discussion.
damn!
One image of a sports car resting on top of debris would be retweeted by the ADA with the caption, "The Cairo exclusion zone is a conspiracy to keep goods in Egypt. The American people have been robbed." The tweet was shared by over 10 million users. Taking notice, the ADA followed up with tweets suggesting that an Egyptian soldier had driven home the sports car in the image, and that the goods needed to be rescued by their rightful owners. The ADA deemed April 19th as Finders Keepers Day and urged all Americans to travel to Egypt to obtain the goods left by the fallen Suez Canal crab. Overnight, an estimated 12,000 flights to Cairo were booked by American citizens.
April 18th, one day prior.
Although a few trespassers had been apprehended in the Cairo exclusion zone, officials did not foresee any further disruptions at the site. Medical personnel attended to survivors in the quarantine chambers. Soldiers cleared rubble and attempted to control the spread of the Suez Canal crab's bodily fluids. By 5 a.m. on April 19th, approximately 20 million gallons had been contained through aerial drops of sawdust and an extensive effort to mop the premises. Although several officials discussed a plan to lay down military-grade mats to enable the hazardous material collection team to walk up to the crab for closer analysis, it was ultimately decided that no further action would be taken until the following evening, as it was believed that the midday sun would evaporate most of the fluid. At 12 p.m., over 12,000 Americans gathered in front of the gated entrance of the Cairo exclusion zone. 4,000 Egyptian police officers and soldiers stood behind the perimeter to guard the exclusion zone from trespassers. At 12:03 p.m., violence erupted when an American shot a police officer in the face. Consequently, tear gas was used on the raging mob. Tanks and heat rays arrived shortly afterwards to deter any trespassers. However, by 12:10 p.m., the front entrance gates of the Cairo exclusion zone collapsed from the force of the charging crowd. Informed of the approaching Americans, medical personnel and survivors at the epicenter began to vacate the premises. By 12:43 p.m., the first Americans were seen by officials at the epicenter. Although the wet ground was expected to significantly slow their approach, several citizens had arrived earlier than anticipated since they had utilized car hubcaps to slide quickly across the ground. With no law enforcement at the scene, the American citizens began to collect fallen goods and pry open shipping containers. Popular goods included furniture, firearms, processed food, tea machines, bars of gold, automobiles, and designer clothing. As Americans continued to arrive at the epicenter, more injuries from accidental falls were observed. Concussions and broken arms were the most common injuries during the initial break-in. At 1 p.m., several fights broke out over a Ford pickup truck that had rolled out from a container and crushed a family. 3 aggressors were shot by a man who had found a rifle. The conflict fueled an unpleasant atmosphere, with more instances of gun violence as time went on. One notable incident saw the discovery of a container of firearms by a group of young children. The accidental firing of an automatic weapon by one child prompted the intervention of their parents and other adults. The resulting verbal argument escalated quickly and broke out into a full-scale gunfight with over 14 armed subjects, including the children. Another fight erupted after the discovery of a deluxe barbecue grill, which 13 Americans had simultaneously called dibs on when the item was pulled out of a shipping container. All 13 Americans died from gun-related wounds. When the last wave of the 12,000 Americans had entered the epicenter, overcrowding ensured that the accidental fall of one individual would trigger a continuous series of additional falls. Without any open space for the midday sunlight to reach the wet ground, the bodily fluid had no time to evaporate, and the number of falls steadily increased. At around 1:30 p.m., one of the posterior legs of the Suez Canal crab twitched and incited panic in a nearby crowd. As Americans attempted to flee, many fell on the slippery ground and were trampled by those rushing behind them. By 1:33 p.m., the screams of the panicked crowd had reached a deafening volume, reportedly being heard over 5 miles away. Due to the reinforcement of the Cairo exclusion zone's gates and orders from the Ministry of Health to prevent any American citizen from leaving the exclusion zone, the massive crowds were kept inside the 3-mile radius of the epicenter, held in place by an orderly line of tanks that flanked the entirety of the zone's perimeter. The gates stood for over 6 hours as Americans ran from the epicenter. Many soldiers became ill at the sight of injuries caused by the thousands of bodies being crushed into the metal bars. By 7:15 p.m., everyone within a half-mile of the gate had perished from extreme pressure. Heat exhaustion, accidental falls, and gun violence were also major causes of death. The Cairo exclusion zone gates were opened at 8 p.m. Soldiers searched for the remaining survivors. Of the over 12,000 Americans who had arrived, only 944 survived. 77 of the American survivors were found kneeling around the Suez Canal crab and claimed to have been promised from a deity that they would survive if they prayed to the crab. However, none of them could account for the remains of dead worshippers that littered the ground around them. They would later establish the Church of the Ever Given during their stay at a local hospital. Howard Melrose, an American journalist permitted to visit the Cairo exclusion zone the day after the stampede, said of the site, "It looked like something from a medieval painting. All of their bodies were jammed into each other. Everyone became one."
During a broadcast of ABC Evening News, anchor Frank Reynolds told viewers to be prepared for tomorrow and that they would witness the start of a glorious adventure. Word spread quickly throughout the country, and civilians invited friends and family to their homes in anticipation of the next day. Although no details of this glorious adventure were known, it was widely presumed to be another exciting TV announcement from President James Dean. Watching parties were organized in living rooms across America, and on the evening of May 13, 1969, after the ABC Evening News ended, televisions were closely watched with millions of unblinking eyes. No one wanted to miss what President Dean had to say.
James Dean's America is hell. But you still don't believe us. You'll hear the truth from James Dean himself.
Immediately following the broadcast, air raid sirens activated across all 50 states. The sirens blared at a far greater volume than usual and burst the eardrums of every civilian within a 4-mile radius. The resulting panic triggered severe overcrowding at bomb shelters and deadly stampedes in the streets. Thousands were trampled and hospitals were overwhelmed within the hour. Fires broke out in all major cities, and cars left running in the streets produced lethal amounts of carbon monoxide, which flowed into poorly ventilated bomb shelters and suburban homes. In Washington, D.C., the White House was placed into lockdown immediately after the TV hijacking, and President Dean was rushed to a maximum security underground bunker. Able to hear the anguished screams of civilians in the streets above, Dean refused to stay in the shelter. When carbon monoxide alarms went off in the bunker, he urged his staff to exit the White House with him and shut off the vehicles left on the roadways. With a phone call, Dean mobilized the National Guard to assist with the deactivation of the millions of parked vehicles across America. Several more phone calls to high-ranking military officials and world leaders revealed that no nuclear missiles had in fact been launched. President Dean soon realized that the air raid sirens had been hijacked by a domestic organization and immediately ordered all forces of the military to disable every active siren in the nation. When military technicians arrived at the location of the sirens, they found that the bodies of prior technicians, who had perished from the combination of stress and the siren's sheer volume, piled so high as to have formed a ramp to the top of the speakers. The overcrowding of streets by civilians and unaccompanied cars frequently blocked the path of emergency vehicles and prolonged the process of disarming the sirens. Against his advisors' wishes, President Dean tasked himself with the deactivation of an air siren near the White House. Although he would accomplish the task fairly quickly, Dean sustained permanent ear damage and was rendered fully deaf. The sheer volume had also caused countless blood vessels in his body to burst and produce several abdominal hernias. His condition was shared among the millions of other Americans who had been near the sirens at the time of their activation. 3 hours would pass before all air raid sirens would be fully disabled. The next morning, at the advice of federal authorities, civilians slowly made their way from the shelters back to their homes. Although some continued to stay in the shelters for fear of radioactive fallout, most accepted the explanation given by military officials over the radio. There is no nuclear holocaust. A domestic terrorist organization hijacked the sirens of America. The streets were littered with bodies and automobiles. The National Guard handed out blindfolds to the young, sick, and elderly as they exited the shelters to prevent the scenes of bloodshed from causing fainting spells and heart attacks. At the Walt Disney Medical Center, physicians examined President Dean and other members of his staff who helped disarm the sirens. All were diagnosed with severe hearing loss. Against his doctor's advice, Dean insisted on issuing a public statement on the traumatic events that had transpired. Although he initially wanted to appear on live television, a glance at the mirror discouraged him, as he saw the countless bruises and tears present on his skin due to the intensity of the sirens. In coordination with technicians from the Department of Defense, President Dean instead organized a large-scale radio broadcast utilizing the very air raid sirens they had disabled. Later that night, a bruised Frank Reynolds would announce on ABC Evening News that Dean would speak through the sirens and that captions would be displayed simultaneously on television for viewers who were hard of hearing.
It's Jimmy speaking. I'm sorry, very sorry for what's come to pass. I wish, I wish I could bring back your friends, your family. I want to fix everything. This is not the announcement I planned for, but as you know, there are people who have it in for us. The Anti-Dean Association. They hijack our systems. They hurt people. The Anti-Dean Association is an anti-American association. I want you to keep an eye out for them. They will not be hard to find because they are very proud of their silly ideas. Find them and bring them to your local authorities. We'll make things right. We have places for people like them. This is Jimmy, signing off.
Over the next week, hundreds of thousands of anti-Deaners would be apprehended and sent to correctional facilities around the United States. These facilities, meant for the anti-American, were aptly located near or at national monuments in order to symbolize a return to American virtues. Most would stay for merely a few weeks before being released again. Friends and family of rehabilitated anti-Deaners frequently claimed that they would have improved personalities, no recollection of their past criminal activities, and even slightly altered physical appearances. These methods were so effective in calming the terrorists that many innocent civilians requested themselves to be sent to these facilities in hopes of radically changing their lives. However, federal authorities would deny any admission to those who were not affiliated with the ADA. During one address, President Dean acknowledged the high volume of requests from the public.
Hey, it's Jimmy again. A lot of you want to be sent to the same places we're sending those anti-Deaners to. I get it. Those who come out of these places, they look clean as a whistle. But if we send you to those places too, then those correctional facilities lose their purpose. If we send everyone to prison, then what's a prison anymore? This is Jimmy, signing off.
On the morning of May 22nd, 9 days after the disaster, President Dean received a state-of-the-art hearing implant from Maze Machines, an up-and-coming tech company. Around noon at the Walt Disney Medical Center, the device was surgically inserted into Dean. The The sound quality of the implant and the speedy nature of the surgery inspired Dean to imagine a new government department, which would be able to oversee the mass production and distribution of quality hearing implants to the American public. That evening, President Dean requested an emergency session of Congress and proposed the ambitious project.
I can't hear a damn thing. Did you hear me? I can't hear a damn thing. Neither can you, or you, or you, or you. It doesn't matter whether you were near the sirens or not. None of you are listening. We need to bring together those technology companies to build and send hearing devices that the public needs. Hearing devices that you yourself need. And through a collaboration with the Department of Health, we can give back to the people what our failures took away. We can let a mother hear her child laugh again, and let a man hear his dog again. We can give everyone their hearing again. And who's stopping you? Listen to the public. You're all about deadlines too. So here's one. By July 4th, I want every American to hear the fireworks.
Due to a malfunction in his auditory implants, Dean was unable to hear himself and as a result spoke much louder on the Senate floor than on previous occasions. The volume of his speech, which greatly amplified his compassion for the American people, profoundly affected the senators, and in the early hours of May 23, 1969, after 10 hours of discussion, the Department of Technology was approved. It was the fastest executive department had ever been established. By May 27th, all persons with hearing loss attributed to the anti-Dean disaster would be eligible for the surgical implantation of a hearing device free of charge.
No way.
Mass operating rooms would be established throughout the U.S., able to
No
house
way.
over 1,000 patients at once. The use of surgical androids was approved on June 5th, which increased the number of surgeries performed per day
That's not
over
even.
250%.
I feel like that's gonna cause problems.
Once all victims had been treated, those with deafness unrelated to the disaster also became eligible for the surgery.
Helen Keller, what the hell?
On July 4th, it was announced that there was no incidence of severe hearing loss in the country. The United States was the first nation in the world to eradicate deafness. The achievement had been expected for some time since its first mention during Dean's congressional address. In preparation, many health organizations, both domestic and international, had prepared to host banquets for Dean and grant awards to him and his staff. However, President Dean spent the entirety of Independence Day racing cars with close friend Richard Nixon at a
Close
local
friend.
speedway. Though many would cite the recovery from the anti-Dean disaster as James Dean's finest hour, the president was never willing to accept responsibility.
All we did was fix some ears.
Bruh. Dean disaster. That's crazy. Alright, next one is Starry Phoenix. Or Starry Sphinx. Video 1. TFMD on Mars. What?
Egypt was entirely against excavation. They had every right to be upset when we went ahead with the oil raid. We said that their system worked for thousands of years and would continue to protect the country. They were right. At the time, the president and our military did not care. They viewed their solution as a problem and desperately needed a better solution. American solution. Which in this case was excavation. TFMDs have been acknowledged by UN Security Council as the single most dangerous threat to humanity. Of course, this was before climate change and mankind was classified as TFMDs under the new administration. At the time, it meant that the pyramids required immediate action.
Wait, what? Enters Earth's atmosphere. What the fuck does that mean? That's so weird. After this episode, I'm actually gonna end the stream. I gotta go somewhere.
The ancient pharaohs personally appointed workers called guardians, with some years of their lives striking the trees. They were equipped with the finest music glass blades, which would substances to inhibit muscle fatigue and induce insomnia, so they would be able to hit the trees for several nights in a row. The goal was not to cut down any of the trees, of course. That wouldn't be possible until 1945. Rather, the intention was to shift the tree's focus from upward growth to internal repairs. The ancient Egyptians knew that they could not permanently halt the tree's germination, but by prolonging their growth, the Egyptians bought themselves time to build enormous towers that would better contain the trees.
Interesting. I just yeah, cause I mean, I feel like okay. Here's what I also think. I believe that whatever this TFMD is, it's bringing the trees here. That's what I think is CAD. Yeah, look, it's dropping things. So is it dropping? Is it dropping the trees or what? Oh,
Within the first week of excavation, we had found the pyramids extending much deeper into the sand than we had previously thought. The more we dug, the more bricks we had found had already been laid. At the time, we had convinced ourselves that the pyramids had to be finished structures. It would only be a matter of time before we would reach the bottom. By the third week, we realized that we had been wrong the whole time. The pyramids expanded on infinitely. You can imagine our reluctance to tell the public that the pyramids were not pyramids at all. They were towers, infinite towers, all three of them. Towers which contain enormous species of metaphysical flora. Who knew that the pyramids were merely the tips of buildings?
tip of the building? Wait, what? False children land. False children. Oh, so this thing is actually like the Giza. False children organized into the Starry Phoenix. Starry Speaks. Oh, what the hell? Starry Speaks distress observes the mothership flees. Video affected by radiation. So interesting. Oh, it's moving? Wait, the other pyramids awaken. Does that mean that the trees are hidden inside the pyramid? They are. Oh no, that's why. That's why. That's why they made the Washington Monument, because it's so different. It's so similar to them. Oh no way. There's more. How many more are there? That's a lot of trees. That's a lot of trees, dude. Produced by the Anti Device Association. Alright. So, in conclusion, I think this is what's going on. I believe that, yes, it came from space or somewhere else. Maybe they were crossed from different dimensions and they were brought here, brought to that world, and that's how they started. Possibly. That's probably what it is. But look, anyways, guys, look, this has been great. I'm gonna go quickly do something. I'll be right back, but it's gonna take me a while. I'm gonna end the stream right here, and then we'll continue it tomorrow. So part one of season 2 is done for today, and then part two of season 2 will be next another day. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more episodes of season 2, and then we're going to the next season. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Everybody, please